Hey everyone, it's Leo Young, and this is Impressive Reviews, where I go over comics, TV, movie, and anything else in the media that I happen to come across. Tonight I had the grand pleasure of seeing Spider-Man Homecoming, so I'm going to try and give an in-depth review, skipping over some of the smaller facts, and giving almost every important Easter egg that I saw. So the movie is pretty much as well as I expected it to be. It's actually a hell of a lot better. Some people are saying that the characters themselves are out of place for the movie, which I can understand, such as Flash Thompson, who's no longer the strong jock type character as we all see. He's just a very popular personality, but he's almost, I want to say, no, he's just almost as smart as Peter Parker. So right off the bat, we start with Adrian Toomes character, who is the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. And we see that he's just a contractor during the events of Avengers 1. All he wants to do is his job. However, damage control comes through and takes that away from him. And he put a whole lot of effort and money into getting like all this Chitauri tech and all of it out of the way. Now, for all of you who do know the name or recognize the name but can't put a face, Damage Control is an actual construction company based in the Marvel Comics who repaired damage done during the battle between a hero and villain. Now, with Toomes' job lost, he and his crew use a shipment of Chitauri gear that they didn't give away to the government to make weapons and eventually his Vulture suit. Now, they skip 8 years later, and we're shown that the prequel of the video that Marvel released, where Peter is filming himself during his ventures during Captain America Civil War. We're shown that Peter is skip that. We're shown that Peter's trying to balance his life with being a hero, but he's more focused on putting his spare time into being Spider-Man, even coming to say that he doesn't need college. He's going to be an Avenger only. This is where we get an introduction to his school, his best friend Ned, his infamous bully Flash, his love interest Liz, and Michelle, who we find out is possibly the MCU's version of MJ. So the movie itself, I want to say, has these I can't say a word. I don't know the word for it. I guess you would MacGuffin. These moments that help push the plot along, such as Ned. Ned at one point finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, and he can't keep that to himself. At one point, such in the trailer, is shown they're in gym, and Liz is talking about Spider-Man to her friends. Ned comes out and just blurts that Peter knows Spider-Man. So that prompts Liz and Flash to invite Peter over to Liz's house party because, you know, Flash is a dick and Liz she's actually a pretty lovely young lady. So I guess if you want, you could say it's peer pressure. So out of this peer pressure, Ned and Peter both go down to the party, you know, because, you know, normal boys who do weird shit such as make Death Star Lego blocks definitely go to these house parties. Call out to Ed Sheeran. But one thing is, the moment that Peter gets there, Flash calls him out, asking where Spider-Man is. Now, remember, Peter is still just a kid, so he does get mad enough to suit up. However, before he actually jumps into the party, he sees an explosion far off in the distance. Now, investigating, he sees Donald Glover, or for most of you, Childish Gambino's character, who is not Miles Morales, and two other thugs who are selling high-tech weapons. It leads to a chase scene where we see that Peter is definitely not ready to be an Avengers or even a hero just yet, because while he's chasing this van around the suburbs, he's crashing through people's stuff, breaking through houses, scaring little children. But the chase comes to a close when the Vulture swoops Spider-Man off and drops him into a river, where Iron Man comes in to save him. When Peter explains the situation to him, Tony tells Spider-Man that this is too high for him and to leave it to the professionals. This is where we go over back to Toomes' base, where he accidentally, yes, he wanted to anti-graviton him or something. Instead, he melts him. He melts the guy we expected to play the original Shocker, but gives the mantle to his partner. Now, we have no clue if this partner is Herman Schultz, the actual Shocker, or if the original guy is, you know what I mean. Anyways, the movie starts to speed up when Peter's found like a power cell from one of the weapons that Shocker was selling, but Shocker comes through. You know, he has to find this power cell because it makes them money, which makes sense. So they chase the power cell down to Peter's school, but Peter manages to plant a tracker on him, which leads them all the way to Virginia. So to get to him, Peter and Ned join their science team and go down to Washington to compete. Now, this is where things get a little bit, old school Spider-Man for all of us. Ned manages to shut down the restrictions Tony placed on Peter's suit and remove the tracker, which allowed Peter to gain access to a lot of his hidden systems, such as multiple web shooters. Now, before he left, Liz asked Liz asked Spider-Man to join Peter to join the team for a late night swim. This is where you start to feel the strength from the film. Peter believes in being a hero above all else. Before heading off, he watched his team in the hotel pool and sadly walked away. He sacrificed happiness for the right thing, as if someone told him something, as if an old dead man gave him a model to live by. You know, I think it involves something involving great power coming with great responsibility. Now, after Peter found Shocker and fooling around with the suit's new activated AI, who he calls Karen, Spider-Man goes off after he spots the Vulture trying to rob a convoy. Now, the thing is, Peter fails. He knocks himself out like an A-class amateur. He woke up a few hours later in a damage control center, but he manages to escape after training and working with Karen. This is where Peter finds out that the power cell that he had and handed to Ned was also a bomb, which urged Peter to move a little bit faster. The bomb does go off in the Washington Monument, which is where we see that explosion from the trailer. However, the explosion does not kill a single person. However, I feel like CinemaSins will most likely deal with that, so I'm just going to hop over it. Now, when trying to save them, we see that Peter's emblem, the spider thing on his chest, is also a drone, not the Spider Slayer bot that everybody like Emergency Awesome and Comic Book Cast thought it was. So, you know, it's just a drone, a spider drone that Karen can control, and the both of them manage to save everyone. The day is saved. Later, Peter's suit turned into a MacGuffin because the way Karen says it, the suit allows him or her to record everything that Spider-Man sees, which makes sense because his eyes are more, mechanical than they ever been. So, Peter sees a recording of the drug deal, which Childish Gambino's character was involved. He finds out who he was and goes after him. But after a failed interrogation on Spider-Man's part, Glover's character reveals where the next sale will be because he knows that these weapons are too dangerous on the streets. So this is where we learn his character isn't Miles Morales because the name they give is like some bland stuff. So Peter heads down to the Staten Island ferry after skipping detention and ignoring a few calls from Tony and Aunt May, and he finds 3 beautiful men. Adrian Toomes, Shocker, I don't know his name yet, and Mark Gargan. For those of you who don't know, Gargan is known as the Scorpion in the comics. So let that sink into your brains for a moment now, huh? Sorry, this is very personal for me. That was 3 of the Sinister Six in one. Now, he manages to stop the deal until the FBI shows up. And so basically he messes up an FBI sting operation. And the Vulture attacks. Now, while trying to stop him, Spider-Man damages the weapon that the Vulture is using, which caused the ship to be cut in half. This results in him trying to save the ship, but Tony coming up to put everything in place. See, this is where it shows that he's not a hero. He's not ready yet. The trailer shows that it makes it seem like Vulture cut the ship in half. It was Spider-Man. Vulture didn't want any of that to happen. This is where Tony takes Spider-Man's suit and leaves Peter to live a normal life. Now, during the downtime, Toomes and his crew prepare for one last heist, as they now see Iron Man and the FBI are hot on their trail. Now, with free time, Peter manages to ask Liz out to Spider-Man Homecoming. She says yes, and isn't a bitch about it in any way. Aunt May comes through and helps him suiting up in his, his little tuxedo. What was he wearing again? I don't remember. And drives him over to Liz's home. Boy, let me tell you something. This is where things slap you into a 180 turn. Instead of Liz, the door is opened by her father, who is Adrian Toomes. Pete can't even keep up a smile the entire time. He keeps mean mugging the boy. Like, he's not even putting any focus into Liz. Like, he just hands her the little corsage thing. What's that thing called that you give your date? Too late. Anyways, sorry, I have a friend here, and I thought she would be able to help me out right off the bat. So, it's on their drive to the homecoming dance that Liz starts to explain Peter, his activities to her dad, which helps Adrian figure out he's the Spider-Man like that. The two have a chat after Liz gets out the car, Adrian telling Peter that he's willing to kill everyone Peter loves for his family. Then lets him go, telling him to leave his business alone. Now, Peter walks into the prom, that heavy music set on everything. He looks Liz in her eyes, and he apologizes, saying she doesn't deserve any of this, before racing off to retrieve his old suit and chasing Vulture down to his underground hideout. As he walks out of the school, Shocker knocks his shit out, and I'm sorry, he doesn't knock him out, he knocks him down, and probably would have put him down for good if it wasn't for Ned using Peter's web shooter to distract him. Now, the whole Finding Tomb scene where Peter steals Flash's car and starts driving, all that, I don't know. It all it did was prove Ned was worth something, but after that, So, Peter goes down to the base and has one last talk with Adrian before the Vulture suit flies through, destroying pillars that held up the upper level up, I guess, crushing Peter down below. Now, I was nearly speechless as Peter cried and screamed for help as the debris was just on top of him. He couldn't do anything. He seemed like a normal kid. He didn't seem like an Avenger. This is where he pulls strength up from Tony's words, where Tony says, if you need the suit to be you, then you're not worth it. And he's able to lift, I'm going to lie, I'm going to say it was 2 tons of weight just to help Marvel out off his back and chase the Vulture's ass into the sky. Now, the final battle between Vulture and Spider-Man was intense, ending with the plane landing so there was a plane that Vulture was going to rob, full of Avenger-related gear, such as Thor's belt and all that. The plane is crashed into the beach. As Vulture tries to escape, Peter pulled him down, saving his life when his wings exploded. Don't forget, everything that we've seen when human put Chitauri tech together, it explodes. Happens in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., happens in Spider-Man. So, the day is saved, Vulture's alive, and, ta-da! Now, Happy, Tony's ex-bodyguard, now asset manager, found both Tomb and the gear all webbed up, with Peter watching from a distance. And in the end, Tony gives Peter a new suit and a spot on the Avengers, but Peter turns both down. Wanting to remain a street-level hero, gets his old suit back. I'm not even going to talk about the last 5 seconds because I do not like what they did. Now I'm going to go straight into the mid-credit scene, so if you want to see the end-credit scene, it's not worth it. It's literally Captain America coming up going like, you know what sucks? Having your time wasted. Like that crap. The mid-credit scene is Adrian Toomes walking through a prison, and he runs into Matt Gargan, and the two of them have a conversation. Gargan's like, there are some people on the outside who want to meet the Spider-Man, maybe slit his throat, and word on the street is, you know who he is. And Toomes is like, if I knew who he was, he would be dead. Bam. End of the movie. Spider-Man Homecoming, I give it an 8 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10, I'm sorry. Looked at the wrong number. 7.5 out of 10. The movie, like I said, some of the characters did come off a little weird. They came off a little strange for me. But I feel like over time, things are going to blossom. Like, let me explain. Something about Ned's character, because you don't know, his whole character's name is taken from the Hobgoblin, a villain of Spider-Man. Ned gave that impression that he was jealous of Peter, but at the same time he was so happy. But I could see it if Ned lost some weight, and no offense to the actor, but if he lost weight and all that, I could see him in the future going like, everything you got, you didn't deserve, Peter. I should have become an Avenger. I should have gotten powers. You're just some twerp. And then he becomes Hobgoblin. Flash, his character, I can seriously see him becoming at one point Venom. Anti-Venom, I'm sorry. This is like, these guys are still young though, so they have time to grow the characters. Not Michelle. Liz's character, Liz had to leave because, like I said, her father is the Vulture, and after the whole trial, he sent them off to Oregon. Something about, like, Liz's character, I was hoping they would use a different angle for her. Like, I was hoping at the end she would be like, I hate Spider-Man, because here's the thing. It was like Peter now knows that her father is the Vulture. So now it works like this. Peter leaves Liz at the prom. She's angry at Peter. He goes off. He takes out the Vulture as Spider-Man. Now Liz hates not only Spider-Man, but she's disappointed in her dad for being a criminal. So she hates Spider-Man and Peter, and now she's leaving because her father is a villain. I was hoping they would play off that angle, but, in the end, Liz was, like, telling Peter, I hope you get everything together, man. You seem to have, like, some identity issues or commitment issues, something like that. Tony's character, Tony was Tony. He was more of a father figure in my eyes. He was a little bit different, but he didn't steal the movie like everyone said he would. His bodyguard, on the other hand, Happy had like a very, I want to say they tried to give him a big role, but they gave him a small. He came off small. He was Spider-Man's nanny, but at the same time, he didn't really like Peter. He was like, "Listen, this is the dumbest thing you could have done. I'm not gonna keep on watching this kid. If he doesn't do anything, that's even better by me." But one thing is, sorry about that. That was my computer being updated. I'm gonna punch my computer after this is over. Peter would call in Happy and tell him everything he did, and you would get the sense that Happy didn't hear it. Turns out Tony was listening to everything he said. He went like, "What about that old lady who gave you the churro?" So Tony did come off as more of a father or a protective like figure. As for that, like, everyone else was perfect. Adrian Toombs' character came off more believable and relatable just because he's a man trying to do things for his family. If you're hearing that, my door is open and don't mind it. But he's just trying to do things for his family. Anyways, if you're listening to this still, I do believe you should watch Spider-Man Homecoming. Go at it with open eyes. I hope that all the news I've been hearing from Sony, they try to get everything right. They work with Marvel, because this movie was, I won't say near perfect, but in my mind, a 7.5 is a great movie. It's not amazing. It's not spectacular. It's a great. This kid, Tom Holland, he has quite a ways to go before you can actually put the word amazing on him. But I can guarantee you he's going to get there pretty fast. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and share this video. If you really liked it and you want to hear more, I would like to say subscribe, but at the moment we have no clue. I have no clue about the content that will be coming to this channel. Anyways, my name is Leo Young. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.